Holland, I think on 31st of...
Coach, before you moved to Holland, let me ask a specific question when you were here in Ghana. Before you left, issues of payment of bonuses, allowances, and appearance fee by the states or whatever, did it crop up? Were the players speaking about it? Did it come up for discussion?
My Lord, in actual fact, you know, this appearance fee issue started when we played against Montenegro.
Oh, okay, okay. When was this? March, right?
Yeah, it was in March. Yes. And whilst in Montenegro...
That was before Holland or after Holland?
No, that was...
Before Holland, March.
Before.
March, okay. Montenegro.
Yeah.
Go on, sir.
Because normally, from previous experience, you know, these appearance fee issues are discussed much earlier before the competition itself. So they had... The management had discussions with the players, including two. One was a presidential staffer, and then the other one was Honorable Mustafa and then Honorable Aduasari. The two of them were part of the discussions with the players. Okay. You know, so. But
were you part of the meeting?
I was part of that particular meeting.
Good. Yes. So.
Unfortunately, the meeting did not end. In the sense that, you know, the players were, you know, still insisting on the 100,000, whilst they were trying to beat
$100,000.
$100,000. Yeah. So.
Okay, whilst they were insisting on 100, what did the state? How much was the state offering?
I think at that particular time they were insisting on, you know, paying 80 or 80 something thousand dollars. Yeah.
Right, okay.
So. And normally, you know, because it did not end there, the best thing should have made sure, you know, these discussions are finished before we even called for the campaign.
Okay.
So when we started the campaign here and we left to Holland, it was in Holland.
Let's begin from here. So from here, did it crop up again?
No, from here actually it did not crop up.
It didn't crop up here.
One of the reasons why it may not have cropped up was the fact that we had 25 players in camp.
Okay.
And for that reason, no one even knows who will be out of the team.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So there is a link between the call-up of the final squad and fully pushing their case about the 100, because then they will know that they are part of the squad.
Yeah.
So if you want to push all of them out, you are going to have problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we said that here, we established that here, that it means you could have settled that even before the final team was announced, and that would have been very easy.
My Lord, I think that would have been the best thing.
Yes. Because then they couldn't hold us to ransom.
Yes.
That time, even if you had mentioned 20,000, they would have agreed, because all of them would have wanted to go play at the World Cup anyway. Oh, so they waited till the final 23 came out. Then they said, yeah. Ghanaian Times, I hope you're not taking it. Mr. Kwesi, relax. Relax.
No,
we are just having a conversation. Relax. All right. Council.
Now go on. You were talking about the...
In Holland, when you go to Holland, yes, and the problems there.
My Lord, after the match, you know, against Holland, immediately after the match, you know, the next day we had to travel to Miami. And that was where the 23 names was announced, because that was the final day we need to send the names to FIFA.
In Holland?
Yes, please.
What date, sir? 31st? You played that match?
Match on 31st.
And then announced in 23 on?
That evening.
That very evening, 31st of May?
May.
All right. Go on, sir.
So, my Lord, on the 1st of June, we left to Miami. And when we got there, you know, the players had a meeting, you know, requesting for the money.
Was the meeting with you or it was with the players? With the management?
It was a meeting with the management.
Oh, okay. And you were involved in it?
And I was involved,
okay,
my Lord. And, my Lord, before I forget, I think the issue came up when we were in Holland. You know, they did ask, but at that particular time, they were told that they should exercise patience, the money will be coming. But because the names had not been mentioned, they were not that pushy, you know. They were kind of
demands that they were making.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the whole thing actually, you know, started when we got to Miami after the names had been mentioned, and they knew that normally, under normal circumstances, you know, they do get these monies before they go, you know, to the competition. And I think previous evidence shows, you know, looking back at 2006 and then 2010. So they thought that, look, why can't we get the money now before we get to Brazil? You know, so there were a series of discussions with the management, and most of the time the FA management will also contact the ministry, you know, to inquire about when the money is coming, and they will relay the message to us. Most of the time to me, and then I also relay to them. You know, so when we left Miami or the US without the money, it was a big problem because we were promised that by the time we get to Brazil, you know, the money will be there and to be handed over to them.
But had you even agreed on the amount, or by the time you go to Brazil, there was still a problem as to the amount itself?
My Lord, by the time we got to Brazil, there was still a problem
of the amount,
you know, of the amount, because the players were still insisting on the 100, whilst the, you know, the management were. The management actually told them that they had a meeting. Is it parliamentary meeting? Cabinet decision, and you know,
couldn't change it,
it is difficult for them, and you know, there was no compromise at that particular time. You know, so when we got to Brazil and the money still wasn't coming, you know, they requested for it before the US game. And you know, I was listening to my Lord, to Stephen Appiah, and he did say something which is very, you know, these players, you know, they are all grown-ups, they are very, very, very intelligent, you know, kids out there, and once you're dealing with them and you treat them as, you know, kids, automatically, you know, they will not take kindly to.
They don't like that.
You know, there was one of the meetings that one of the players said that, why can't you tell us that, look, the money is not coming now, it will come after the first round or after the competition.
Wow.
So that we all put our mind
away,
you know,
from the, okay.
But, you know, day in, day out, every meeting, oh, the money is coming. There was even one occasion where they said, oh, the plane has taken off.
Bringing the money.
Bringing the money, and 2 days after, you know,
the plane had not landed.
So they came up with the same issue. So how long does it take the plane to land? You know?
I see.
So
all this was in Brazil.
All this, you know, was happening in Brazil. You know.
Now, let's clear this issue of the exact amount, because we've been told, and evidence has been led, that at a point before the US game, you impressed on the management and the minister that, look, this problem had to be solved, and therefore the minister appealed, the vice president agreed, and actually, but we saw the film here, the vice president promising it was going. How was this? Tell us your knowledge of those facts.
Yeah, my Lord, from what I know is, you know, there was a lot of pressure on the FA management and the minister, you know, in the sense that, you know, they kept telling us the money is coming, the money is coming, the money is coming, and then, you know, when luckily the vice president was came around, you know, they took opportunity to contact him and let him know what the problems that they're facing in Brazil there. So he came to our training grounds and, you know, gave the assurance that the 100,000 that the players are requesting for, you know, will be paid to them. Yeah. So after the pronouncement, the players started jumping. They were all really happy.
Very happy.
Yeah.
So they started jumping.
No, it's, you know, it's, my Lord, you know, once.
I know, Jamas started blowing.
So the morale went up.
Yeah, the morale, you know, went up. Everybody was, it's like, you know, requesting for something day in, day out, and, you know,
so. Okay, so then we played the United States. you know, we played well, but we lost.
Yeah.
What happened? The demands. Now the amount has been agreed. Where is the cash? It wasn't coming.
Yeah.
What will tell us about that situation?
In actual fact, you know, my lord, after the U.S. game, you know, because they were told before the U.S. game that the money will be coming immediately after the match. So when we finished the game, they requested, oh, as the money still not arrived, you know, and they were told that, look, people are working on it in Ghana and it should be coming soon. So they waited, the players waited, and before the German game, you know, they came up again, you know, requesting for the money. And my lord, they got to a stage where it was difficult for the minister or even the FA management to face the players.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, you know, the message comes and then they will relay the message and, you know...
The airplane will take 2 days.
Yeah, you know, so I even had to fall victim of this. What happened was there was one training session that all the players, you know, called me and said, Coach, you know, anytime you tell us to do anything, we do it. And now, you know, they are telling you the money is coming, and, you know, sometimes they tell you to tell us. You know, so once this keeps going on, automatically, you know, you may be losing your integrity in front of us. And I understood them in the sense that, you know, as a coach, you need total, you know, respect from each and every player. And once you are trying to step in between the management or the ministry, you know, trying to convince them to do, you know, things that you yourself know is not the truth that they're telling, automatically, you know, you end up falling a victim.
So the players told you to stand aside. Was that the case?
Yeah, they told me that, you know, I should let them deal with them because they know, you know, when it comes to money issues, I don't deal with money issues. You know, so they knew where all the
was that a sign that they had a lot of respect for you?
From my knowledge, you know, there's none of them who has shown, you know, any disrespect or, you know, except, you know, which is normal.
In fact, they were sympathizing with you.
Yeah,
the people were using you.
That's the thing, because
so they want you off so that they face them direct.
Yeah,
you were in the line of crossfire.
My lord, you know, because when it got to a stage where, you know, it was becoming too much for them to take, and
did you yourself also believe it was becoming too much?
My lord, I believe so, because it started from Holland to the U.S. and then before the U.S. game, and then after the U.S. game, you know, so. As I said earlier, my lord, they are not kids, and
yeah, but you were in charge as a coach. Did you approach the FA management, say, people, what is happening? Because it's affecting my boys.
Yeah, my lord, I had a series of meetings with them, but all what they kept saying is, you know, when it comes to those appearance fee monies, it's not the FA.
Don't pay, yes,
it's the ministry. So most of the time when we had meetings, they will also try and call the minister, you know, to talk to him. And
but did you make an attempt meeting the minister himself?
Yeah. Even there was my lord, against our match against Germany. You know, he had to use me to calm the players down to concentrate on the game. You know, because it was difficult because. They didn't want to actually see them again, you know.
Really? The minister?
Yeah, it got to that stage where, you know, because, as I said, they are not kids.
Let's get it clear. The players were not ready to see the minister.
Yeah,
Ghana's minister for youth and sports. The players were not ready to see him.
Yeah, you know, my lord. Yeah, my lord. That's why
yes,
I will tell you. I cannot lie. And I believe that, you know, once you keep saying negative things or not telling, you know, the real situation,
yeah,
automatically, you know, you will find it difficult. Even if you got a kid and keep telling the kid lies, or you don't tell the straight, you are not straight with the kid, automatically there will be times that you cannot go in front of your own kid, you know, to tell him anything because he will not believe you.
So you feel that the minister, if he was facing problems, he should have been honest and told the players that, look, the money is available, but we are facing problems. So this is it. Rather than tell he's coming tomorrow and all of that. That's what he should have done.
Yeah.
And told them that, look, we are not sure when we are going to get it, but you focus and play. That probably could have solved the problem.
Yeah, my lord, I think that was one thing that one of the players, did say along the line. But,
but
it looks...
to be fair to the minister, I'm sure he was also getting information back from home.
That it was coming.
So let's be fair to...
yeah, my lord, that was what I was coming to, because
okay.
You could see that the minister wanted to do something,
best, yeah.
But for some reason, I mean, the whole thing, no one could know where the main problem was, because he was always being given information. Now the flight has taken off, the money is at the airport, and anything they tell him, he also relays the messages to us. So it was really, really difficult situation, because we are not in Ghana to verify the main problems.
Yeah. The good thing is that now we have the knowledge as to what was happening. We have the information. Now, tell us, how did this affect the psyche of the players?
In actual fact, my lord, it did affect, the players. When it comes to performance, performing on the pitch, there are so many factors that leads to performance. And every player going into a game needs to have full concentration on the game that he's going to play. And it did show, more especially after the German game. That was where everything erupted into chaos. Yeah. And it all boils down to
the failed promises.
Yeah, the failing promises.
So I paint the scenario, and I'm going to paint it to you again. Imagine that the way we played against Germany, and clearly it was one of the best matches of the World Cup. I think it was the best. One of the best matches I've seen the Black Stars play. If in the dressing room they had received the money, what effect do you think would have had on the team?
Yeah, my lord, I personally believe that, it would have raised their morale. And, Ghana, we are kind of, I don't know why people put it that way, that we are slow starters when it comes to competitions. But if you look at the game, against the US, the performance was good, but we lost. And then there was kind of progression, when we played
Germany.
The German game. And then, normally, after the German game, we should have, expected the team to perform at its highest level.
Yeah.
And then, the day after the German game, all these money issues and, other petty factors, started cropping up.
Okay, so tell us, after the German game, then what happened? We hear they didn't train. Tell us about that. Those sequence of events. What happened after that?
Yeah, my lord, what happened was a day before we left to Brasilia for the Portugal match, we had a meeting, with the players and the FA management. By then, the minister wasn't around. He was in a different state. So, during the meeting, the players said that, look, there's been consistency in the money is coming. Now, they should call the minister, to let him know that they need the money either in Maceió, where we're camping, or the money should be in Brasilia by the time we get there. So they called the minister, they put a phone on speaker, which he was made aware that the phone is on speaker, so that the players can hear directly from him. And the condition was, look, we need the money. If you don't get the money and we get to Brasilia, we will not train.
Really?
Yes. So and then, they were told at that particular time that by the time we get to Brasilia, the plane will be there waiting with the money. So
he said it on speakerphone.
Yeah, everybody was listening, and I happened to be there.
He said that by the time the players got to Brasilia, the cash will be there.
Yeah, because that was the information he had from Accra. Yes. So he also relayed that message to the management and myself, including the players. And so when we left to Brasilia, and we realized that the money wasn't there. Then there was no plane, there was no money. They stood by their decision, not to have any training session that particular evening.
Did they talk to you before they refused to go for training, or because of what they had discussed earlier, they didn't come to you at all?
Yeah, because of what they've discussed, which I was part of it.
Okay, so they didn't need to even consult you.
Yeah, need to consult me.
No, let's get it clear. Did you tell them, let's go train, boys, let's go, and they said no? Or because of what they said earlier, you didn't make any attempt of asking them to go train?
Yeah, my Lord, what happened was, because of the decision which was being taken, which I was part of it, when we arrived, they asked, and then we were told that the money was not ready. So at that particular time, my intention was that we could have gone to do just some shake-up.
Light training,
yeah, some light training, because if you look at, there was some problem, and that problem was before we traveled, there were issues there which even delayed, our traveling to Brasilia. And for that reason, I also considered that they might be tired mentally and then physically. So, and then looking back at the discussions that we've had with the minister, I decided, okay, I will also try to push them, because it's just 2 days to a game, and trying to push them will erupt into, you were part of the decision that was taken. Why are you now?
You have been very diplomatic. Yeah. Let me put it straight. Am I right to say that at that point you yourself, as a human being, you felt the boys were justified? That's why you didn't push them?
My Lord, I believe in trust. If you want your players to respect you, it's always important that you go straight with them in all aspects.
Thank you. Lord, let me answer this question. Along the line, you said something that suggested that the players felt you should step aside and then they could deal directly with management.
My Lord, they did not actually say steps aside, but they said that the rate at which they were being told, I don't want to use the word lies, but they were being told that
different things that didn't happen. Promised, and the promises
that was why they thought that it's important that there are some situations I should not carry that messages. They should allow them to calm themselves so that they can face them straight.
Now, so at what point did they start dealing with the management directly instead of going through you?
Yeah, my Lord, if I think you've heard there was an incident where Sule had an issue with the management, and at that particular meeting, none of the technical team was part of it. The players had a meeting with the FA management, and that was one of the scenarios or situations that had happened in Brasilia.
Now, can you tell the Commission what actually happened when they interacted? Even though you were not there, I believe along the line you came around. There was an interaction with the management. At what point did you come back to the
council? I think he was not there. We'll leave that. Otherwise, to be here, say, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, but if you are
let me rephrase
okay,
my
reframe it.
There was an interaction with between the players and the management team.
Yes.
And then there was some incident that you did not witness. After that, did you interact with management and players again? Were you part of any interaction, the players and then the management?
My Lord, there was only one meeting, between the players and the management, and at that particular meeting, my Lord, I was not part of it. So whatever transpired there, my Lord, I may not be able to talk about it here.
Now, there were reports, and it was confirmed just a moment ago, that Sule and Kelvin were asked to go. Were you part of that decision?
Yes, my Lord, I was part of the decision.
Can you tell the Commission what was the reason?
Especially the Kelvin one, because we have not talked about it. let's roll back a bit and tell us your relationship with Kelvin and what happened between you and him. So at least we can have that on the record.
Yeah, my lord, when you have players going into a competition whereby you've selected 23, in such situation, they are, you need to show a big time maturity, and that's why you are called a manager, because you need to manage all these egos and, respect everyone's view. But in doing so, if a player, and in this particular case, Kevin Boateng, on several occasions, he was using, foul words, or F words in training. And most of the time, I kept quiet or pretended as if I've not heard it or seen what he's doing. And
against you, directed at you or directed at other players, the F words?
Yeah, my lord, he directed two to me on two different occasions. And my lord, as to my technical team members, some of them he did direct to them a lot, as well.
Just to follow up, do you think it's a cultural issue? Because some people are born with F words that hi, it looks like hi to them. Anything then the F word, but it's like, but in our culture it's not acceptable. But a person was born with it.
My lord, I understand you 100%. I've also lived there, and that's why I said it's always important that you respect each and every player, how his background, the way but when he overdoes it, that is where I have a problem, because he started doing that and I tried to ignore him, and the first one he did in front of all the players, and I kept quiet over it because that was a day before the German game. And then, after the German game, he did the same thing, using the F word in front of all the players. And my problem is, we've got so many young players in the team at the moment. So if we are going to say, okay, this is his culture, this is how they behave.
But you see, tell me, to be honest with you, Commissioner Kofi is just being... Because why is it that in Europe they say F word? Why don't they say it? Because they know it's not good.
Yeah.
And even in the media, they will blank it out. So it is not true that they do it. That's not the right way. Yeah. Go ahead, my brother. The commissioner was just being nice. But they know that it is offensive.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a crime called indecent behavior, which is a crime in England in itself. So I don't believe that they encourage such things. And even if you do it, that's wrong. That's not the norm. It's abnormal. Anyway, go ahead.
So, my lord, the second time...
I just wanted to know whether maybe he's used to it. Well, maybe. Go on, sir. Go on.
Yeah, my lord, the second time he used, this word, I made him go off the training pitch, and my intention of doing that is to let him know that it's not acceptable, to use these words in front of everyone. For me, if it were just two of us, I would have just ignored it. But, repeatedly doing the same thing in front of the younger ones, I believe is something that we cannot tolerate, or we will not allow our young players who are coming up to keep doing the same thing.
What was his problem? What was his problem when he was using those F words?
Yeah, my lord, most of it, there was one... there was a tackle. He was playing on one side of, I shared the team into two, and he was on one side of it. And then there was a tackle against his colleague, which I ignored the tackle, and then there was a shot at goal. So when the goal scored, I said, oh, good shot. And so what the fuck is this good shot?
We apologize.
I'm sorry I led you into
We apologize.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
We apologize.
My Lord, I'm sorry I've used this word.
We'll give you some break for you to take your water. And then we acknowledge. Your coach, your assistant is here, Maxwell.
Let's see Maxwell. Maxwell Konadu, yes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's welcome him.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You can take water if you want to.
My Lord, I'm fine.
Your Lordship, I think the word is a targeted word. Targeted word. Targeted word.
No, but you see, on the serious side, much as we are not condoning what happened, Commissioner Kofi's question still stands. He's saying there are some people where they are cultural. It no longer means an insult to them. It's like they are used to it. I don't know. Maybe let's not jump the gun. I know some people when they come from there, Aboriginal people. Even if they say come eat, come fucking eat. Oh, sorry. sorry. I've withdrawn the word.
I think we should end it here. I think we should end it here.
Otherwise, they add the F word. I don't know whether it's become part of. I lived there before, but I don't know. So the essence of his question on the serious side is whether he meant an insult or whether it's part of his language.
Yeah, my Lord, I've worked with him before when he came before the 2010, and after that, I've been with him, for some time now, and he never used to be that. So
good.
Once he starts using it, then
he's definitive. He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And even after, my Lord, after the training, I was expecting that he will come and show, remorse, and then, we carry on from there. And then after the training, he confronted me, and, started exchanging words with me. And I was really angry. He made me actually very angry, and I told him to just go and sit down. I don't want to see him. I want to just stay off. So when that happened, I knew that he was angry, and I was also very angry with these alterations. And then I was expecting that for 2 days actually, I had not reported the case to the management, because the management were on the training grounds. They heard everything, but they were actually looking up to me. But I decided, look, let me wait and see whether this, player will come and show some kind of. And he never came. Anytime he met me, he would just squeeze his face and, walk around me. So I knew that, it's something that he knew he decided to do. So I then made the report to the management, and that was where, a decision was taken against him.
Did you make that report after the Sule incident or before the Sule incident?
My Lord, I made that report to the management before the Sule incident.
Okay.
Yes.
But the decision was taken together with the Sule incident or before the Sule incident?
Yeah, my Lord, what happened was, the Sule incident came after Kevin's incident. And when taking the decision on the Sule's issue, that was where Kevin decided to take both decisions at the same time.
This was somebody you brought back into the team. We know you brought him back. So why would he do that to you?
My Lord, as you say, it's true, and most of the time you tend to believe that there are some players that you'll be looking up to, and also, going into the World Cup, I 100% believe that it's important you get some players that, everyone can look up to, and then when it comes to difficulties, they will step in and even calm situations. But sometimes you don't get what you want, and I believe that that's a very good experience for me.
Could you have used Stephen Appiah?
Yeah.
Could you have used him? Sorry? Could you have used Stephen Appiah to mediate or to ask, go and ask this guy what's wrong with him?
Yeah, my Lord, I did speak with Stephen, and even one of his colleagues, he understands the German, my backroom staff, Otto Ado. He was also there, and we spoke to him that he needs to talk to him, to change his ways. But I believe that he had this different intentions or different mind. Because on the part of Stephen, there were so many instances where he had to step in. For instance, a day before our game with Portugal, I spoke to him, and he had to go around with the captain, making sure all the players join us for training. Right. So he was doing his part that he could.
Now, Coach, what was the attitude of the players towards Kevin's continuous misbehavior? The rest of the players, what was the attitude towards him?
My Lord, to be frank, there was one training session that actually I shared the team into two. I was keeping an eye on some players, and then Maxwell, my assistant, was keeping charge of the other side, and Kevin happened to be on the other side. So during that training session, Kevin was training. He just walked up the field, and the players, some of the players got very angry that we should just leave him. Sorry, we should just leave him. Who is he to? So there were some of the things that he was doing, which for me wasn't good for the atmosphere of the team. And it's always good that when you are in a group, you behave as one of them. You don't see yourself so big or so different.
Now, I'm asking these questions because some people have said that the timing of their dismissal affected the performance. But as a coach, do you think you had gotten, because it's good his lordship made the point, you had brought him back, and not only him, people have forgotten that Asamoah left the team, the Ayew brothers, Michael Essien, who was Sule himself, and you were able to bring all of them together in our match against Zambia, and eventually against Egypt here, they were all around. And I remember the bashi that you received from these my media people here, from every Ghanaian. Everybody you brought him, somebody had something to say to you. Yeah. So in a sense, we cannot say that you are not aware of team building, that you are not capable of man managing. So my question to you is it that at that point you saw that that behavior had crossed the line, and therefore for the sake of team performance they had to go?
My Lord, I think when we met to take that final decision, the minister.
Can you speak a bit louder?
The minister was there, the FA management members were all there, and I was there myself. And, I believe that the decision was taken on the basis that, we don't need to portray bad behaviors, to the younger ones who are coming. And it's really important that, we set an example for them, to know that no matter who you are, it's important that you stay and respect each other, and then show kind of commitment to the national cause.
Yes, Commissioner Moses' question is the timing, whether you think the timing was right, knowing that they have a match a day ahead.
Yeah, my Lord, one of the reasons why we took the decision at that particular time was the fact that no one knew what could have happened. For instance, when we lost against Portugal, what could have happened in the dressing room? Looking at what they've done, how they would have behaved, at that particular time. And that was something that we considered, that we need to be really careful, looking at what Kevin has done, looking at what Sule has done. We were not sure what they could do.
But if you weigh the two, this is hypothetical. If you weigh the two, Ghana using those two players and winning the match against how their indiscipline may affect the team, if you weigh the two, which one did you go for? And why did you go for the other one?
Yeah, my Lord, as to a team performance or a team winning. You know, in the first place, Sule wouldn't have played that
anyway.
particular game.
Yeah, he was on.
He was on 2 yellow cards.
Yellow cards, yeah.
Yes, and in this situation, if, for instance, Kevin was not part of the team or the starting team, no one knows what he could have done.
Exactly.
You know, so.
But there was no guarantee he was even going to perform well,
yes,
or you were going to even choose him.
That's the thing, and it's always good that, you know, as I said, in coaching, it's all about risk taking.
Yes.
You take the risk and then you bear the consequences. Yes. You know, but I believe that, you know, it was a very good example for the younger ones to also know that, you know, when you are out there to serve the nation, you need to look up to it, not your personal interests.
Okay. He had 2 yellow cards.
Yes,
okay.
Sule wouldn't have played
anyway. Okay, thank you. Then I shouldn't have even asked that question. Okay, Coach. From my memory, they had the money before going into the Portugal match. Where were they keeping the money? Because what I'm asking, depending on where you are keeping the money, if it's me and I'm playing, I'll be thinking
and
about
my 100,000 is in my hotel room.
Either I lose quick or, you know, I have to go and get the money.
Yeah.
So would they affect their concentration as well?
Yes, my lord.
Do you know where they were keeping it anyway? No, it's a good question. Why he's asking? Because we have information that some time back, Sule's wristwatch and things were stolen whilst playing. So imagine, like he's saying, 100,000 cash in a hotel room in Brazil.
Yeah.
Your Lordship, in fact, the information, well, we don't know whether we are yet to verify that they were moving to another place anyway. So even the bags were probably packed. So it wasn't even hotel room. That's even more dangerous. So,
naturally, your mind will, as for me, half will be there.
Yeah, my lord. I mean,
naturally.
You are 100% right. I mean, normally, you know, a day before a game, you don't need this many issues.
Distractions.
Yeah,
You know, it's very, very distracting in the sense that, you know, as my lord said, most of them had the money on their.
It's true, backpacks.
Yeah, backpacks. And because in actual fact, after the game, we were moving straight, you know, back to our, you know, so they had to move it from the hotel and then keep it in the dressing room. So.
The dressing room.
Yeah, because
yeah, I know.
Everybody wants to make sure that his money is intact. You
know.
So it's, in actual fact, it played a big role because psychologically, it's not the best because you, as I said earlier, when you go a game, you need full concentration, especially 2 days before the game, to concentrate on only the game. So when you have these distractions, you know.
In summary, I think. Oh, sorry. So not having the money was a problem. Having the money was also a problem.
In actual fact, that's, my lord, that's why it's always good that these money issues are solved before any competition. You know, you don't need money issues to distract your preparations. You know.
So for them, I guess it's better to have the money and have the problem. No, but on the serious side, Coach, I think, from what I am hearing now, I think management worried you. A lot of the problems were not from you. Because, like he's saying, if the right things were done, the systems had worked, the boys would have concentrated on the games. From what we are hearing now, let's put ourselves in his shoes. Players who are supposed to carry out his instructions are thinking about even when they are getting them. First, how much we are getting, when it is coming, and even where to keep it. This is my first time hearing that players kept $100,000 and above in backpacks, put in the changing room. I don't want to mention the country. I didn't mention that. Put in the changing rooms. And I know they were not keeping the keys. And you put these players on the field to play. Money he is expected for. Money they were expecting for 2-3 weeks, that has finally arrived. They got it that night, the following day they were playing, the money was in their rooms. And even to the dressing room. Coach Appiah, I think we worried you. We gave you problems. The system gave you problems.
System failure.
Yes. I so much sympathize with you from what I'm hearing now. If players were quarreling with management a day before matches, some were even fighting, do we have the moral courage to blame the coach? They even took time to count the money. They don't trust everything is in there. Yeah. Oh, they even checked the money.
Oh, Council,
it was given at 9 o'clock.
Yes, it was given to at 9.
Speaking to the mic.
At 9 o'clock, they received the money in the evening.
Was it not in bundles?
Yeah, but then I'm sure they still have to count.
They still have to count and make sure.
Because when trust and integrity breaks down, even when you are given a pack of money, you want to count it. Yeah. When it's broken down, it's broken down. Even check for counterfeit.
My Lord. My Lord.
No, this is not a laughing issue. Yeah. Yes, sir.
My Lord, the unfortunate thing is, talking about the time the money was given, we were supposed to play Portugal at 1 p.m., which is the following day. So, if, for instance, you give him the player at 9 o'clock, he has to sit down, and then when we were there, we heard rumors that, people could attack you and get your money. So,
some of them didn't even sleep.
That's my Lord, that's the thing. And,
they were wakekeeping over their money.
No, it's like it's like you bought a brand new car. 2 o'clock you wake up to see whether the car is there. No, don't forget these are young boys. The mentality. For example, let's leave those who ply their trade outside. They maybe are used. But there was one boy from Ghana. I'm sure that was his first time ever seeing $100,000 cash. You think that boy will sleep that night? Naturally, he can't. And then the worst part that you pack it into your backpack to the dressing room. I am very sure, some of them who in the first level will tell those stories in the first level. Hey, Charlie, be watching. No, don't laugh. It's possible. It's possible. So what do you want a coach to do in such circumstances? When his players cannot concentrate, when they are supposed to be sleeping, thinking of the following match, the following day, the match ahead of them. Some were counting money, some were fighting, some were not sleeping. Coach Kwesi, I don't blame you.
Thank you, Madam.
I don't blame. From what I'm hearing, personally, not the commission, personally, I don't blame you for what happened. Put yourselves in his shoes. Look, even in our homes, take even your wife. You promise, not mine, that you give her money today, tomorrow. Stories. What happens? Even your own child, like he said, Daddy promised bringing you a phone. Daddy, where's the phone? Oh, I'll give it to you tomorrow. 3rd day tomorrow. 4th day tomorrow. What happens? Once he's lost that trust in you, when you come next time, he will even ask you again because he knows you won't bring it anyway. No, we've not been. I was not there, but from his side of the story, if what he says is the truth, then I don't think we've been fair to Coach Kwesi Appiah. Thank you very much. So tell us, from what I'm saying, and what Commissioner Moses and Commissioner Kofi have said, if the system had flowed and money issues settled long ago, like 2006 and 2010, we would have done better than 2010.
I believe so.
Yeah, because with the promise that the money was coming, look at how they played the German match, only to be told the money hasn't come again. Naturally, as a human being, your spirit will go down. They are human beings, don't forget. They are human beings, and they behave naturally, like all of us do. They are normal human beings. Because I'm sure the Portuguese or the Germans, they were sleeping. The Portuguese. Even the German team, before we played them, they were not playing. I'm sure they were sleeping, thinking of Ghana. Yes. Because I heard America said, well, as for them, they are going to the World Cup for one thing.
To win against Ghana.
I didn't say it too. And you know Germany, I heard they said the only country you cannot predict is Ghana, because they don't know what system we play. So, and if you saw how the coach behaved on the park, when he kicked the ball, that can tell the pressure under which he was. I don't know, I stand to be corrected, but what I heard from the statistics, the TV3 man, you are here. I'm told for a long time, this was the first time the German team had to equalize. This is the first time they had to equalize. To come from behind to equalize. So you can imagine.
I don't think you need to go back. Technical and tactical play against Germany. And actually, after the game, the German Joachim Löw himself commended him for the way we played against them. And I think, Kwesi, you can also thank your backroom staff. It appears that your scout, what's his name? The German boy. Otto did a good job for you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did really well.
I mean, at least he analyzed the German game.
Yeah. He gave a lot of information on the Germans.
But for one little mistake, we would have even scored a third goal. Yes. To beat Germany are 4 teams. But you see, so do we say, am I right to say we shot our own selves down? We shot
ourselves in the foot.
Ourselves in the foot. I'm just asking. The system failed us. See, that is why we are here, to correct those things. And I keep saying we are not here to fight anybody. That was why I was calming him down, that we don't want to go onto the pitch. We want to go off pitch to see what happened. Now you've all heard him. Next time we will let this happen again? No. This commission will make sure this never happens again. This will never happen again. All national teams representing Ghana will sort everything out in Ghana before they get out. An issue of money, cash, no way, no team will see cash again in Ghana. If you see cash, maybe you come back to Ghana and come and see it here. But to carry cash or to go and pay you cash, they forget it. The banks will do it. These are things we want to set up. Please, Ghanaians, help us. These are the systems we want to correct for us to go forward. I know we'll qualify again 2018. We'll go. And I bet you'll see the difference when the systems are put in place. You see the difference. It's sad. Hearing you, it's so sad. You went through a lot. Maybe you yourself were not sleeping. Yes, of course.
He was praying. I was praying with him.
No, it's true. But you said at one meeting the minister was not there. When they had a meeting, he didn't attend the meeting.
My Lord.
Not the one where there was the fisticuff. No, not that one.
Yes. That was the one before the German game.
Where was he? Was he not in the same hotel with you?
Yeah, he was, but he wanted us to give the players the message.
You say he...
No, because I think he was getting frustrated in the sense that the information that he was
coming from Ghana.
From getting, was... Because whatever he heard, he tried to relay it to us, but that wasn't what was relayed.
Yes, as for that, we give him that benefit of the doubt because he was also getting information from Ghana, so that one, nobody can fault him about it. But I'll appeal to all of you in football, next time, resolve all these issues before you set out of Ghana. So what do you tell us now as the way forward? What do you think? Our way forward?
My Lord, I think the way forward, the first thing I would like to touch on is this appearance fee issues. It needs to be solved before the team leaves to start preparations. And the other thing that, my Lord, I will put across is they need to be 100% sure of the number of people that joins the team itself, the team in the team hotel. We need to reduce the numbers.
Again?
Yeah, we need to reduce the number of people who joins the team.
Around the team.
Those who are around the team.
At the team hotel.
At the hotel, the hangers-on.
Yes. And then make sure that players should always be on the bus, no camera crew or Now, nobody. It should be only the players to give them full concentration on whether they're going for training or they're going for matches.
The communication structure. Do you allow everybody to talk to players, or they have to talk through you? And the players, can they talk directly or through the captain?
Your Lordship, I just wanted to help. I think he made a very important point. There are some TV stations that acquire rights to the team in terms of the hotel, on the bus and all of that. All these are rights that are sold. It helps the FA to raise funds. But I think his point is that it is too intrusive and disturbs the focus and the psychology of the players. So I think that's a very important point that the FA will have, because it's off pitch.
I think somebody told us here that a day before the match, there's compulsory press.
Well, some of the praying, their spiritual. These are spiritual.
My Lord, that is
press conference.
It's a press conference.
And the press conference, that's mandatory.
Yes.
That's by the.
So that people can come in.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got the media men who will be there to interview myself and maybe one or two players.
That's standard, isn't it? That is the standard FIFA regulation.
So what we are saying is that team should be placed somewhere where not too many people go near them.
Yeah.
Yes,
My Lord, I think the team hotel, and then at the same time, when we're going for training sessions or going for any match, it's important that we allow them to fully concentrate. As to, as my Lord said, if you bought the right, it's important that we give them specifications as to where they could be at any particular time.
Okay. Next one, you said 2, appearance fees, and then those who hang on. Yes. What else, sir?
Just before the hang on, what about the person who plays the drum? I heard you had somebody
who used to play drum.
Langer.
My Lord, he has been with us, I think I've been with the team for 6 years now, and he's always been around, my Lord. And he, most of the time, 3 days before he
came. It's all right, don't say, it's okay.
So we always need him to play the drums for us too.
So I think what you're saying is that it's not everybody who must be pushed out. The numbers must be reduced to those who are necessary for what is supposed to happen. Yeah, okay.
All right, then what else, sir?
My Lord, I will suggest that, we're facing a lot of, from what I've seen of Ghana football, one of the major problems that we're facing is there's no one philosophy, which runs through, from, I cannot even limit it to the coast level. I believe that if we could deal with the national teams, where, there's one philosophy for all our national,
running through all the teams.
From 17 and 20, 23, and then the national team. In that aspect, there could be a flow of consistency. The major problem is this cannot be achieved, the way we keep changing our coaches. I believe if you look back to 10 years now, you'll be surprised how many coaches have been changed, and when there's no consistency at the coaching level, automatically,
the philosophy that affects the philosophy.
Well, let me tell you this: the ministry itself, for the last 6 years, they've had 6 ministers, and for the last 14 years, they had 12 ministers. Ministry of Youth and Sports. Last 6 years, 6 ministers. Last 14 years, 12 ministers. So it's the same problem as you. Anyway, that aside. So what next, sir?
My Lord, I will hope that in future, when we're going for competitions, it's important we get the players' input as to which hotels, we're going to lodge, in the sense that once they are not totally involved, you may take them to which may not be pleasing, and you may have to change.
Don't you think you have to be involved as a coach? That no, my boys cannot sleep here. It's too bad. This is where my boys should sleep. Don't you think that's a morale booster?
My Lord, in other fact, we took that step, and most of the time, my assistant was playing that role. For instance, when we were going to Miami, he took the initial lead to go and inspect the place before.
You should put your feet down.
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's important that you involve them so that.
Is the captain involved?
No, this is what I'm saying. He wasn't involved.
Yeah, but you see, to be honest with you, Commissioner Kofi, Coach, whilst I agree with you, there's a limit. You see, because where, let's say, Kevin might like, what's his name, the one in Esperance.
Don't go there.
Okay, I will mention any name.
Use my name.
Where I would love to sleep, his lordship's legs might be too long, so he might not like. So I think there are management matters and there are technical matters. All right, so much as I will agree with you that it's good to involve, I think there should be a limit. Because if you are not careful, then a player will go for a 5 stars where we probably, the Goji is not available. And that can cause some confusing as well. So I think there must be limits to what the players get involved in. Otherwise, that might also affect their concentration. I know, for example, that when you went to Miami, because AC Milan had gone to a particular hotel, Kevin and Sule knew those hotels. Yeah. That's why they wanted to go to that hotel. I mean, not everybody plays in AC Milan. So that might cause. So I agree with you that there's a certain level of involvement, but it should be as detailed as, let's say, a good enough hotel.
So decent, yes.
A decent enough hotel, 3 class 4. So once we set the standard, then we know that, look, this is the standard that we're going in for. Anyway, I mean, we are listening to you.
Next one, please. You gave us 4. The last one is accommodation, where the players are accommodated.
Yeah, my lord, the last one that I would like to talk about is about, I think my brother Steven spoke about it. It's our national pitches, the football pitches. It's important that we try to make good pitches in all regions. So if there's any means that that work could be attributed to the football association there or the community, as Honorable said earlier, I think that will really help in the sense that they will know that it's their responsibility to make sure that they've provided a very good, at least one good pitch in that region. I think that will help in the sense that you could have very good players, but if you got bad pitches, automatically, you may not get an output that you're expecting from the players.
Then on a lighter note, you are so tense, so let me ask you a question on lighter note. Are you happy when your team scores? When the Blasters score, are you happy?
My lord, I am really happy, but
you are always like...
I always want to make sure that we finish the game, before I show my happiness. Because if, for instance, you've scored 1 or 2, and you start jumping, and then by the end of the day, you are down,
Like a team that was recently beaten in England to 5-3. Yeah. Okay. But at least, next time, give a smile.
Yeah, Your Lordship, if I could just focus him on your current contract, which was, we don't know whether it's been terminated or not, but when were you engaged for the next, the new contract that you had? When were you engaged?
Yeah, my lord, the contract was signed in May. Is it 20? I'm not sure of the date, but it was signed before the World Cup.
Before the World Cup. Can you get us a copy of it? Can we?
Yes, my lord.
Yeah, please let us have that. And what were the circumstances surrounding the signing of it? What transpired? I've been prompted by Your Lordship, but let me explain why we want to find out. Because it is possible that there will be consequences on the state in terms of the damages that you might seek. That's why we want to know. If the contract is between you and the FA, that's fine. But if there are legal ramifications in respect of the state's purse, because it's easy for somebody to say, well, it is a sponsor. Who is the sponsor? If it is GNPC that has to pay, that's a state institution. And we, as a presidential commission representing the state, is concerned about the state's expenses and at the circumstances under which those costs are incurred. That's the reason why we want to know. Okay, so we will want to have a look at that contract and see the circumstances under which, the termination. Well, I mean, you probably don't need to go into the details, but just a quick question: has your contract been terminated? Have they terminated that contract?
Yeah, my lord. I think on the 17th,
Yes.
I was given a letter by the FA terminating the contract. So I'm yet to, respond to it.
Officially to that, the termination of that agreement.
Yes,
now, do you know who was financing your contract? Who was paying you? Was it the FA? Was it the ministry? Was it GNPC? Do you know?
My lord, from what I know, since I signed, it's been paid by the FA.
By the FA.
But where
it's coming from, you don't know where. Well, we have the information as to who is paying, so that's why we are concerned about it. If we could also have a copy of the letter terminating that appointment, because it will be a charge on the purse of the state, and we want to find out, the circumstances under which. Are you happy about it? Of course you wouldn't be, but if you don't want to discuss it, that's fine. But I just want to know: do you feel cheated, hurt, betrayed? If you don't want to answer, that's fine.
Don't feel comfortable, don't attempt it.
My lord, I believe that, I was building a team, and most of the time countries go into recession, and looking at the past 2 years, with Ghana was in recession, trying to get some players who are, we cannot depend on them, trying to bring out many young ones. And it's always good that as a human being, always you plan ahead, with the intention, okay, this is my plan. I'm building these players by a year or two, they should be where I want them to.
Yeah.
And when, you don't achieve what you want, automatically, as a human being, you feel that, okay, I've not been able to. But saying that, I personally believe that, we've got so many young players in the team now since the past 2 years. And the good thing is, it's about Ghana at the end of the day. The country will benefit from it.
Let me ask you one hard question. What's the relationship like between you and your deputy? What was it like?
My lord, we started work about 2 years ago, and I've never had any problems with him.
But you also work with him on the Meteors, right?
Yeah. My lord, we went together to the
Maputo. In fact, people don't recognize that you were the first two coaches who have won us the All-African Game gold medal. Not even Polo and Raza could do that for us. People don't recognize that, but I think the two of you achieved that. So how was the relationship,
Yeah, my lord, we've had no problems. We almost interact almost every day, because sometimes I give him assignment to monitor some players, and you have to give me feedback on them. And, until the last game that we played against Togo, I cannot say that we've had any problems. Even after the Togo game, almost every day we do talk on phone.
You will be confident that he can, if he's in a caretaker position, he can carry out the vision that you have. You are sure that he can do that. That's in case he's given a caretaker.
My lord, I think he's proven. The father is taking Kotoko to win the league. Along the line. Then I went with him to win the gold medal in Maputo. And then he's been with me, working throughout to qualify Ghana to the World Cup and up to now. So for me, I personally believe that given the chance, he can do it.
Now let me move on to the technical development of our coaches, which is one of my pet subjects. Okay.
Before he goes on, I didn't know you answered the question he had, but since you answered, I'll ask one on it. We are human beings, as I keep saying. We all have our feelings, inner feelings. For you to come back from a tournament, to be praised by your employer, that you did very well, all that happened there was not your fault. You did very well. And even extended your contract, only to terminate it after winning a match. Don't you feel hurt?
Yeah, my Lord, I'm a human being. Automatically, you feel hurt, but at the end of the day, I don't know, I may say my lifestyle is different. I always believe that I look at a bigger picture. Is it in the interest of Ghana? If yes, so be it. But at the end of the day, I believe that I've worked peacefully with the FA all this time. But, when it comes to decisions, it's always important that you respect it and then you carry on in life.
I salute you. This is just my personal prediction. Market, you come back.
Thank you, sir.
You come back.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Kwesi, let me just deal with a few hard questions. People have talked about certification. You've done the CAF license B and A, right?
Yeah.
How would you relate that to the UEFA Pro license, or what is the difference, if you are aware of it?
Yeah. My Lord, from my understanding, when it comes to the CAF licensing, which has been ongoing for some time now, what FIFA has done is to, send the same syllabus which are being used by UEFA to all continents.
Oh, I see.
For instance, if you're in Africa, FIFA, there's I'll maybe find a copy for you of a big syllabus which is brought from FIFA.
Okay.
And they give it to all
Federations.
Yes. And when we were even having our UEFA B, they gave us a big copy.
Is it the CAF B or UEFA?
CAF B,
okay.
Yes. And what FIFA wants to do is, for instance, if you're a doctor and you go to UK to practice, you need to go through a course to be able to practice.
Sure.
And that is what FIFA intends to do. That in future, if for instance you're from Europe and you want to come down to coach in Africa, you have to go through a similar CAF license before you can coach in Africa. It's not got there yet, but that's
the aim. So the content that you have, is it the same? That is, you went through the CAF B and the CAF A.
Yeah.
The content that FIFA sent, is it the same thing that you did for the UEFA? Is it the same for UEFA?
It's the same. It's the same content.
I see.
It's the same content, but it depends on how. In Europe, what they do is, if you go through a series of the course, they break you and then they tell you go and put it into practice.
Yeah, work. Go and
work with it.
Practical experience.
And then you fill your logbooks and then you bring it back. Yeah. And then you do second part of it. So
it takes a longer period.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But that's why if you've played some level, even in Europe, they don't allow you to do UEFA C and B. You don't need that. For instance, if Seven wants to go into coaching, he could go straight to UEFA A, CAF A, because of his knowledge in football. In coaching, most of it are practical work. If you're not a footballer, in that aspect, you need to go and start from the scratch and learn even how to pass a ball. So it's always, it's always difficult. But I believe that
you might be wrong.
There's no difference, and I know about that.
Okay, all right. So if we want to do the equivalences, it won't take us much time to do it, right?
Yeah, I believe so. For instance, what we do, in actual fact, it's not just the coaching. We do psychology, we do anatomy, and then we
physiology and physiotherapy.
So we do all these things in addition to the course itself when we go. So most of the time, we finish around 10, 11 a.m. throughout the day because you do practicals and you go back to the classroom to do, so it's very, very intensive here compared to Europe where they give you gap, to go and put it into practice.
The practice. But
Yeah.
don't you think that practical aspect enhances their capacity? Is it not a good idea to practicalize it, or theory in a classroom that you need to go and do some practical?
Yeah, my lord, it's a very good idea, and that is where it's important that once you've done the course, because most of us who go into this course,
I already
the
coached.
CAF, yeah, they are into coaching already.
Oh, so they don't need
no, they know the practical aspects of it already.
Okay.
So it's someone who is not going into it at all who needs to do it.
Now let me find out. You've worked with the technical directorate of the Football Association. You've been assisted by Coach Utia Kenti and others. What do you think of that technical directorate? Is it a good one, or we can help it be better? Because that's one of the concern of the commission. We want to move funds away to spend it on those sorts of investment. What do you think of the technical directorate of the FA now?
My lord, what I can say about that is they're doing the best that they can, but as you said, it's important that you always back up. They need funds, so for them to perform at the highest level. And it's the same thing with all our technical aspects. We all need. I wish that I have more people working for me behind the scenes, and I think it goes down to every work that you're doing. You always need people, or need funds, to support you.
Well, they said you lost the dressing room. That is the comment we've heard. He's lost the dressing room. He's lost the dressing room. What's your response to that?
My lord, I've heard that, and sometimes I ask myself, where is this English coming from?
Where's the English coming from?
Yeah,
Which English? The whole phrase,
yeah.
lost the dressing room.
Because if someone is lost dressing room, that means he has lost total control on the players. You can't tell any player to even go for training or give him any instruction, and the player. That is where from my understanding, I believe that someone has lost control room. The dressing room. But
maybe, let me explain. Maybe what they are saying is the players give you what we in Ghana call fanful respect. When you are asking them, they will do it. But behind, you will say, that is maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah. My lord, if you look at the team that Ghana has at the moment, let me bring it down to my last call-up. Out of the 24 players that I invited, I actually, for the past 2 years that I've been in the team, I brought about 18 of them to the national team. So the idea of, and none of them, every one of them, most of them, go to the even extra mile, to talk about their families and that's why, they even call me Silent Cat, because I always believe that you always need to bring competition in the team. And none of them is 100% sure whether he will even start the game. Because I'm looking at, it's always good to have names, but name with performance. And as to, personally, I don't know, maybe they're not referring to me as someone who's lost concentration.
So
we learn you even got 4 or 5 new players who you want to bring.
I think if you had been coaching for the Agnes 2 matches.
From Europe to join the national team.
My lord, when you are in charge of, the most important thing that you need to do is to make sure that you incorporate every Ghanaian into. So what we did was to make a chart and then keep all those who are in the team now, and then those who we are looking at who have not had the opportunity to come in. We have a chart for them that we monitor every week. So every week I get information from my analyst whether the player is playing or not, how much minutes he played, and then most of the time we try to bring them into the team. I mean, 1 or 2, we introduce them. The only unfortunate thing that when you are a national team coach, you experience is you don't have a lot of friendly games. For instance, this year, there will be no friendly game because all the days has been occupied by CAF games. And in that aspect, whenever you're playing competitive, yes,
player.
it's always difficult to experiment new players. But saying that, there could have been ways of bringing maybe one or two, to come and have a taste of it, and then later, if they deserve to come in, you bring them in.
Coach, another hard question for you. There are those who say that sometimes people have to induce coaches, maybe not you in particular, generally before they get picked.
Yeah.
And that there are some players in the team that are the pet of the coach. In fact, the nickname they give to them is Coachiba. Coachiba. So, I mean, what's your response to that? And from your experience as a deputy coach, assistant, and then as a coach, have you ever come under those influence where players or their agents want to influence you to pick a particular player because of some monetary, reasons?
My Lord, when you are head of any coaching career in Ghana, either with the club side or the national team, automatically, along the line you face these problems of either the players themselves or their agent trying to influence you by giving you something in order to call the player. But if I sit here to say that have not been tempted in that aspect, I'll be lying. On several occasions you have people trying to. But the good thing is, I always believe in one thing, that is, if you want respect, and you sit there for instance, the president of the FA to tell you, oh, bring this player in, and then you bring him in the first place, the president of the FA will never respect you again, because he knows that he tells you who to pick. And then secondly, if a player or his agent gives you, for instance, a penny, they'll take this and pick my player, and you do that, automatically he will tell the player, and the player will have no respect for you. Yes. And I believe in one thing, and I always keep saying that when I lived in UK, I learned that if you have $100 and you can take care of your case and your family, it's important that you respect that and stick to it, than allowing people to influence you with because in actual fact, in coaching, once you lose respect in front of your players, it's always better that you stay off. And for that reason, it's difficult to say that coaches don't do it. I don't have any proof that any coach has done that before.
Well, for me, my last question, Ghanaians would love to know what's the future for Coach Kwesi Appiah. We know there's a prophecy on your head that you will come back. I associate myself with that prophecy. But you see, Moses is always bigger than Kofi. Moses is a bigger prophet, so I associate myself with that prophet. So you will come back one day. But what's the future for you? What will you be doing with yourself?
My Lord, I always had this belief that, even though in life, there are people that God works through to raise people's career. And my lifestyle, I've always depended on God to lead me in whatever decisions that I'm taking. And I cannot sit here to say what I'll do tomorrow. I believe that I've let my life in the hands of God to direct me.
Amen. Amen to that.
Mr. Appiah, my personal advice is take some of the money that you get, go and do that UEFA thing they are talking about. It makes no difference. It makes no difference. But if that is what is being used, or whatever that situation is, go do it. It might just add value to it. But it might not do anything really to your capability, but just go do it. Then now, what next? Go do it and come back.
Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have some personalities here we often acknowledge. Dr. Kwame Banoago.
Yes. Prof. Kwame, come around, let me see you. Let's acknowledge. Kwame, welcome.
Oh, nice. How are you? Good. When I knew him, he was like this.
The son of Professor.
The son of Professor. How are you? Okay, thank you. And then we have Remo Segofi and some other old players, are they here? Where are they? Let's give them a big round of applause. Yes, thank you. Oh, you are alone? Lone Ranger. Then Obo. Who is Obo? Who is he?
Is he a supporter? I think he's the famous supporter with the thing on his head.
What? The pot.
With the what name is inside?
Ask him again.
What is it? Tell us, you know. Come on, you feel.
Speak into the mic.
And I will catch you. Catch up and I will catch you. Then I will. Okay, I understand. When I was so kukuna, a jawum.
So doesn't it bend your? Oh, it's chemical. Oh, nice. You were in Brazil.
In South Africa.
Oh, you were in Germany. Hey. You were carrying your pot with the flag around it. I think it's painted.
It's painted, yes.
Oh, thank you. He's a good supporter. Thank you very much. You see, he knows Germany. I don't know Germany. On that note, who else? Mr. Fred, you've seen him already. And there's sporting personalities here. Let's acknowledge them. Greengrass, how are you? Ben Numensa, weightlifting. Where is he? Oh, he is the boss or he lifts weight?
No, he's the boss. He's the boss. You are the boss, aren't you? Yeah, congratulations. Very hard working. Yeah.
I think
they built a gym.
2-3 ladies were lifting. But I saw 1 minute. You sit down 1 minute. I saw a white man who was in charge of your team at the Commonwealth Games.
Our coaches. It was like a trainer's trainer, right?
Was he a tech advisor or a tech director?
How come Nigerians can lift bigger weights than Ghanaians?
Because they eat eba.
Once they are being disqualified,
we'll close in 5 minutes, please. Once they are
being disqualified, we'll be winning
them. They are enhancing their performance, but we don't. But let's
please, there's only one. Thank you, sir. Sit down. There's one game one sport I've been advertising always. The one you hold your friend, put him on there. Judo. We have strong boys around here. No. Seriously speaking, I'm not joking. Look at China, Japan. You see them gold, 50, 60. It's all from judo. And they are not going for football. 23 people. Huh?
We don't do chaskele.
Chaskele is what?
I said we don't do chaskele. That's why we are not.
You hold your friend, throw him down, gold. Why can't we go for that? and make medals?
There's a technique to that.
Yeah, but it looks easier. No, I don't know. Seriously, if we take it seriously, you find 20 strong boys who can throw people down and get gold. You teach them the technique.
Yes, it's wrestling actually.
Go green
grass technology.
Green grass technology. But have you ever seen a